So it's been a while since I've done a video on real estate. Today I'm going to react to Jayda Cheaves, which I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all know who she is, especially if you're in tune with the blogs. But if you don't know, she's the mother of little baby's children or child. I'm not sure how many they have, but she lost over $50,000 in a real estate transaction or in a pair of real estate transactions. So I'm going to play the video and we're going to react to it.
Contract for 2 houses in Atlanta. One of them, I just was like, to earn this money, I don't want this house no more. And then the other one, it appraised for lower, and I was like, I'm not about to crash out and spend all this money and be stuck upside down in a house that's not really worth what they want me to pay. And I just felt like things kept going wrong for a reason. Even though I could hire 24-hour security, me and my son in a house by ourselves, putting that much trust in men that I don't know, I'm not doing that. So I'm a condo girl, I'm a penthouse girly, and that's just what it is. Even though it's more expensive living in a penthouse, I know I'm losing out on space, I'm losing out on land, a yard, a pool, all the cool stuff, but it's just for me and my son's safety living in Atlanta. Yeah, no. I brought my mama a house. When we want to have fun, go play in the yard, walk the dogs, we'll go to her house, but I ain't playing like that in Atlanta with me and my son's safety. Hell nah. Negligence period to say you don't want a house anymore, because now you're gonna have to lose out on earnest money and sometimes be obligated to still paying whatever you owe the realtor for commission. It's not fun. I had to pay a lot of money, mind you. It was over $50,000 that I lost out in earnest money, on top of me having to settle with. It was a lot. Pay close attention to your due diligence period. You get all your money back. You could say no. Don't be a crash out like me.
All right, so a couple things there, right? So she mentioned that one of the homes didn't appraise correctly. Now, I'm not sure if she's doing cash. I'm not sure if she's doing financing, but you have something called an appraisal contingency, where if the house doesn't appraise, well, you have the option of asking the seller to bring the house down to the appraisal price or walking away. Now, when you're using bank financing, that appraisal contingency is automatic because banks require it. You know, banks are in cahoots with the real estate industry, so it's automatically built into the contracts. Now, if you're paying cash for a home, this is a separate document you have to add to the contract that states, hey, I'm paying cash, I'm paying for an appraisal. If it doesn't appraise, then here are the stipulations if it doesn't, or, you know, or if it does or whatever, right? So in her case, I'm not sure if she had that in her contract, or if the agent, you know, dropped the ball, or if she was paying 100% cash and they didn't include that contingency, or if she just ignored the contingency, because these contingencies do say like, hey, after so many days after the appraisal, I'll send in writing what I want to do to the seller, and she could have passed those days, or, you know, there was no communication at all about it, right? Now, the other thing is when she's talking about her due diligence period, that's normally like your inspection period, right? So, when I help people, I put 7 business days in the contract, right? So people have time, you know, so that they don't lose their deposit, so that they can find an inspector, inspector can come out and do whatever, and they have time to walk away if they want to walk away from it. Now, there's been times where, you know, I've had one client lose their deposit. And that was on him. But what ended up happening was his paperwork was murky, right? He put down like 10 grand for his earnest money deposit. His paperwork was murky. He knew the paperwork was murky, and he was trying to figure out a way around, or, you know, figure his way around the bank to get this thing through with murky paperwork. Well, he ignored me when I was letting him know, like, bro, you're running out of days to get out of this contract. He was ignoring the loan officer. You know, I'm calling him, texting him from different numbers to see if I can get a response. You know, even if I knew where he lived, I would have went and knocked on his door, because I don't want that bone in my back, because, you know, he was doing his thing and I'm trying to protect his deposit. So, you know, after his due diligence period, he ended up hitting me back like, yeah, I know I lost my deposit, whatever. I was telling me what was going on, and I'm just like, bro, you gotta communicate with me so I can help you out, because part of my job is to protect your money at the end of the day when it comes to this deposit situation. Now, one other thing that she mentioned was that she still had to pay her agent. Me personally, I don't do that. You know, I had a client that walked away from a property on last Friday. She walked away from it on Thursday, the day before closing, you know, and she lost her deposit, unfortunately, because she waited until the day before closing to decide not to move forward. But I don't I'm not going to say, oh, well, you owe me money on this transaction. That's not how I roll. Especially since she's already losing a $50,000 earnest money deposit. 9 times out of 10, she's buying a multi-million-dollar house. So, she's losing probably really over 100,000, because I know if it's $1 million home, the agent's getting, 26, 27,000, 2 million, you might as well double that. You're in the $50,000 range now, 3 million, now triple that, so that's a lot of money. And, for a client like that, that can afford to buy a multi-million-dollar home, her associates, her family can afford to buy these homes. Me personally, I wouldn't have told her, or despite what the contract says, I wouldn't have took the money. I'd just be like, hey, we win together, we lose together. At the end of the day, you can refer me. You know what I'm saying? If little baby want to buy a home, put me down. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I would have handled the situation, me personally. But all agents are different. I wouldn't have taken her money, even though she didn't buy either of these homes. If, a loss is a loss, charge it to the game. Win is a win. We get money together. But, I've seen some agents out here that move kind of funny. Linda was telling me the other day that there was an agent that was getting paid by the listing agent, but then wanted to charge the buyer and roll more commission into their loan. So the agent was walking away. Just the buyer's agent was 6%, right? Some people are funny like that, right? But how, like, when you're younger, your parents tell you, money don't grow on trees. With my mindset, I got abundance mindset. Money does grow on trees. There's a lot of money out here, and you don't have to really try to milk individuals. Now, if BlackRock hit me up or if Amazon hit me up and they're like, hey, we want to buy homes in bulk, I might do a little double dipping over there, because that's not going to hurt them. They're a large corporation, like, so what? But to individuals, that's just something I wouldn't do. At the end of the day, if you do good business with folks, they're going to, refer you to other friends and introduce you to people, and you can, recoup those losses that way, or if you consider it a loss. But for me, I wouldn't. Just charge it to the game, figure out how you can, actually help her, help her buy a condo, right? But, and make your money off that penthouse sale, versus trying to, double dip and do all that. That's when it gets weird. So you got to be careful out here. Not saying that that's what the agent did. She said she paid the agent. I wouldn't have taken the money. That's just me. But at the end of the day, folks, like she said, you got to pay attention to your due diligence period. And your agent should normally be on your line about it, especially in writing, so that you can't, because some people will blame the agent, in some cases. But for me, I'm sending text messages, I'm calling, I'm sending emails, I'm doing all of that stuff just to make sure that like, hey, you got 1 day or you got 3 days. I know it's a lot of pressure buying this house, but you should make a decision so that we can protect your earnest money deposit. But this is, crazy times we're in, but, you got to know the game, especially if you want to, play around. Like she said, don't crash out like she did.